Okay, welcome to this latest episode of the Shots Pod, where we discuss all things Aldershot Town FC. I'm Liam Flint, and as normal, I'm joined by Howard Flint. Dad, how you doing? After that crazy 3-3 to start the season last week.
Yeah, I had to come home and take my blood pressure, Liam. You know, I've been on statin since last Saturday. But great start. I thought it was a fantastic game, and I would have loved us to win. But I'm sure Jack will say a bit about it. But great atmosphere, and I thought I thought our guys did really well.
Yeah, it's funny how Tommy said on the pod last week, slightly different style of play. We want to be a bit tighter at the back this year, and then we get a 3-3 absolute classic to kick off the season. So that lived long. But we'll give him a bit more time than that to implement what he's talking about. But yeah, you've alluded to it there, Dad. Let's get our guest in. So delighted to say this week we're joined by shots forward Jack Barham. Jack, thanks for joining us, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's all right, pleasure. We had a fun few minutes of just trying to find the mute and unmute button, which we said we wouldn't talk about. So we'll swiftly move on. But Dad, we've been looking forward to having Jack, haven't we? Because he had a great season last season. And we're intrigued to see him this year. A bit more space in that attacking lineup. You guys have moved on, so it should be interesting.
Yeah, brilliant. I was just looking up the stats, and I think last year, Jack, I think you had 45 appearances, but 32 starts and 15 goals. I mean, one goal every other game. That's pretty good going, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, like I said, last season it was good. Like especially playing with obviously Josh and Laurent. I think, like I said, we kind of from the first game of the season we just like hit it off all three of us together. And yeah, it was just an enjoyable season. I think if I was probably in another team, then I probably would have got more praise and probably what I thought I should have had. But that's just football, I think, and I'm grateful that I got to play with them too because they've both gone on now and playing both in the football league. So, like I said, I'm happy to play a part in that. Especially them two being like the age that they was. It was just good to play with them, and I think it was at the start of the season, it was like that unexpected kind of how do you think like the season's going to go. But no, it's really enjoyable, and I'm happy that obviously I played a part in them too, like kicking on now, and it's good to see them doing well.
Yeah. There is literally never a dull moment with the shots, Dad, as you and I will testify quite often. But Jack, obviously 3-3 opening weekend of the season, bit of a mad game. How would you sum it up in terms of how you saw that?
Yeah, I think for us it was kind of no pressure because of Forest Green coming down from League Two, and everyone's kind of you can see it on social media how much they've put in to their squad and the budget they've got for the season and stuff like that. So for us, it was probably the best situation we could have been in, really, because if you play someone that's just come up in terms of the league, like we had like last season, everyone expects you to win, but now playing someone that's just come down from League Two, it's a bit like shackles off. Kind of the pressure's on them, really, even though they're away from home and it's on our patch. I think for us it was kind of no pressure. Go out there. We've obviously got a system the way that we want to play, and we generally believe that we could hurt them in aspects. Like I said, and we started off really well. I think it was like 2-0 up within 15 minutes, and I think it kind of shell shocked them a little bit as well. And that does happen. I think when you get relegated from League Two, I think you expect that you've got a better budget, you've got players that have come down from the Football League as well. I think the expectancies, and I think that them playing us has probably done them a favour going forward for the next few games because I think it's kind of a situation where like it's not going to be a walk in the park for them. I think this league, I think it's going to be a lot tougher than what they thought. But no, I think it was a good result considering I think the opposition that we faced.
Yeah. What do you think, Dad? You were there. Fair point in the end.
Yeah, I think a point was fair because they had, as Jack knows, they had several chances to win it at the end, a couple of chances at least, and of course we had chances too. And in fact, had Josh scored one of his two in the first half, I think it would have been 3-0 and probably totally different result. So it's all ifs and buts. But no, I think a point is fair, and actually, as Jack says, going forward, we'll see how good a point that is. Maybe 10 games in when they've got a sort of gauge on this league. So no, it was great. And I'm not a neutral, but as a spectator, it was 6 goals, and it was a lot of people around me where I was in the ground. It was like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be an exciting season. Maybe didn't defend brilliantly, but we created lots of chances, which is fantastic, and that's what the fans want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Jack, you picked up an injury towards the end of the run-in last season, I remember. And what can you tell us about your recovery? And because it was quite a long recovery, I think. And also, are you 100% now? Where are you?
So yeah, I obviously picked up an injury, recovered from that fine. That was fun. It's actually my other knee this time.
Ah,
It was first week into pre-season. I just felt like something weren't quite right in my right knee, and it's just been something we've been monitoring really. So if I need like a day off or like an extra recovery day, then so be it. But I think the aim is to just make sure that I'm keep building my fitness, and also being in a stage where I'm not in any pain or anything as well. So like if I have to miss a day or so, but I'm ready for the game on Tuesday, Saturday, whatever that may be, then
yeah,
that's the precaution obviously we're going to take going forward. But it's just about getting fit for me now. I think like it's hard. I'm in a position probably now where it's hard to get as fit as possible because I've got to play games, and it's like we've just come out of that transition of pre-season into like with the season starting now. So in terms of like the training schedule, it's a bit like lower tempo than what it would be in pre-season. So it's just a case of me getting fit now. But like I said, hopefully the more minutes that I build and stuff, and obviously with the congestion of we've got so many games coming up that I know that I'll get to that period anyway. So I'm not too worried. It's just a case of me getting fit now.
yeah. Because there's sort of, if I understand it rightly, there's match fitness, and then there's sort of fitness, and the subs on the bench or the people coming back, like Christian Magoma. I would imagine he would be fit, but he didn't play many games in the last year, so there'd be another level. Is that about right?
Yeah, so I think like everyone always says, training, you can train as hard as you want, but getting that sort of 90 minutes plus injury time minutes in the legs, it's like I always say, when you first start playing and stuff, you get cramp and you have to get through that period. But I always think it's so hard to get fit like in training and stuff, unless you're playing, I suppose, behind closed door friendlies and stuff. But that's only if you're fortunate enough to have a big squad to do that. Whereas our squad, like it's big, but like I said, there'll be a few lads that go on loan, and it kind of as the season goes on, and then boys go on loan and stuff, the squad kind of narrows down a little bit. And obviously more subs this year. You got 7 subs on the bench, so whereas like I said, it gives you a bit more food, like it gives you more choice in terms of you can have that goal on the bench, but you still got another 6 subs as well. So I think everyone's got to be ready to play at any moment. Like I said,
Yeah,
when you're called upon, you just got to make sure you're as fit as possible. And I suppose when you come on, make a difference. And then, like Gaffer always says to us, it's harder to get out of his team than in the team.
yeah,
So like once you're in the squad and you're playing, it's normally, he always says it's harder to get yourself out in terms of like being in his starting 11 than it is kind of playing like, yeah, it's rather than being out of the squad and trying to get in,
yeah,
you're better off being in the squad and like I said,
yes.
proving that you should be in there.
So on Saturday, you were one of the subs, and you came on, I think, 70 minutes or so. Were you? Some fans would have been a bit surprised that you were on the bench, bearing in mind what fitness is. Were you a bit surprised not to start?
No, like I know where I'm at in terms of fitness wise.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, I've had in my past seasons, I've had literally no pre-season, and especially when I was at Maidstone, the gaffer sort of said, "Look, I'm playing your first game. That's it." Like, and I've got fit through that way of being chucked in the deep end. And I suppose there's pros and cons to that. Some people say, "Well, you've got a big chance of getting injured and you'll be out longer if something goes wrong." But at the same time, you've got to get fit somehow. So it's a case of the gaffers kind of got to be in a position to say, "Well, look, I'm going to play you. If you break down, you break down, but you're going to get fitter for that. And if we can look after you either way." So I knew coming into the weekend, I knew I weren't going to start just based on minutes. And there's other people that have played in pre-season that have done really well and warrant a start. So
Yeah,
I'm a bit more in terms of that. As much as I want to play and I want to make sure that I'm in the starting 11. Sometimes you've got to just read the situation and understand that where I'm at in terms of my body.
Yeah, understood. And actually, as far as our experience of Tommy, and I know he's your boss, the gaffer, but our experience of Tommy is that he honestly does believe that it's a squad game, and he tells the players. I know he said himself to us, you need to be ready because when we look back at last season, all the strikers got time. It wasn't all the same. Kwame was very often impact sub, last 20 minutes or so, and that might not be perfect, but I think Tommy is the sort of gaffer who says, "I need you all." Is that how it feels?
Yeah, like I said, he's clearly made like I said what he said is true. Like if you're like the way it was last season, especially if you come on 60 minutes, for example, you could actually end up playing 45 minutes, like
Yeah,
time of the added time and everything like that. So in terms of that, it's a case of, like I said, Gaffer's always big on, you could come on for the last 15, 20 minutes and the ball could land to you and you could score and get the winner. So
yeah,
like I said, it is a team game. You've got to be ready at like all costs. You've got to be ready to come on and make an impact. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it is a squad game. As much as every individual player would love to say, like, I want to be starting week in, week out. Because effectively, when you're in the squad, you're sort of first name on the team sheet every week. The noise around it makes it, it gives you more praise and it gets you more accolades in terms of like individually. But no, like I said, with us, I think the squad is strong, and we know that whether you're starting, you're on the bench, you're always going to have an impact.
yeah.
So, Jack,
There
how
was,
long?
yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Dan, I was
yeah.
just going to ask Jack, how long then does that last with you being happy on the bench because you're building up to
Mm-hmm.
minutes versus like when does that then tilt to actually no, I need to be on the pitch now? Is it this Saturday? Is it a few weeks time? How long do you think it's going to be?
I think, like for me personally, I'm ready whenever the gaffer feels that I can start, or whether, like I said, if you was to say on Saturday, look, I'm gonna put you in the starting 11. I feel like my body is capable. Like I said, I'm ready to play. It's just when that moment's right. But like I said, I can also you can kind of like I said, Hady's played really well on Saturday. So do I expect to go and start on Saturday? No, because he's had a really good game and he warrants another game. So I think sometimes as a player, you've got to understand that when the time's right, you'll be put in there. And I think, like I said, it's just a case of for me, I'm raring to go. I want to play as many minutes as I can, but at the same time, if the squad and if the team's doing well, I'm not going to be knocking on Gaffer's door saying I need to be, because he's going to turn around and say, look, the team's doing well, so
Yeah,
I can't take anyone out. So I think now, me being a little bit older and like probably 5, 6 years ago, I'll be like, no, I want to start and a bit more right. But now I think I understand everything a bit more and I'm a bit more experienced to know like when my time's right, I'll be in starting 11.
Yeah,
yeah. All of us hope that our sons will grow up one day, Jack.
will mature slowly.
Yeah. There was a great, just on the same subject, there's a great picture that Ian Morsman took, and I think you put it on Twitter yourself of Hady scoring the first goal and him running towards the bench, and you were furthest towards him. It's a great picture, Jack, isn't it? And actually says a lot to us as the fans that you were all pleased for him.
Yeah, like I think Hady's been very unfortunate. It's funny because when I was at Maidstone, Hady was there, same situation. The formation we played at the time was 4-3-3, and obviously you can only pick one forward, and that was me. And Hady was kind of there, but he's had such bad luck with injuries in terms
Yeah,
of he works so hard, like in terms of what he offers off the ball as well. Works hard, and technically he's really good as well. I think people, because he's had so many injuries and he's been unlucky, I think people haven't really seen what he can do, and his finishing's actually really good.
mm,
His all round games is good, and I was just so happy for him. That, to be fair, on Saturday, that you know you do have pre-seasons where you doesn't matter what you do, you just can't score. Um, so for him to get two and to get off the mark early as well, I think it'll do him a world of good, really, especially going forward for like the rest of the season. I think every striker, they're just waiting to get off the mark, and it's kind of the season goes on then. So no,
yeah,
look, I'm really pleased for him, and hopefully, like fingers crossed and touch, really stays fit. Because I think that for him is the most important thing, is making sure that he doesn't overwork himself, and he makes sure, like I said, he's ready for to be picked every week.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. When he came on previously, we had a chat about that, and Hady was saying himself that he could push himself maybe sometimes too much, and you do need to rest, don't you? You need to rest,
Yeah.
recover, and look after yourself. And he's still young.
Yeah, I think the staff are very big on that. I think for me personally, I've probably the club, like being at Aldershot now, it's probably the least I've done in terms of pre-season to other clubs that I've been at. But they've got a way of doing it, and like I said, they want to kind of build the fitness slowly and make sure that everyone, like I said, for the staff's point of view, it's to make sure everyone's fit come Saturday, Tuesday, or whenever the games are. So it's the case of just making sure that no one overdoes it, and once you finish training, go home, sleep, recover, eat the right stuff, and that is important. I think recovery is kind of underlooked in terms of people think you've got to work hard all the time to make sure that but there is days where you just need to just switch off and rest and stuff like that. So I think the staff are good at that. And like I said, hopefully, touch with this year, we don't have many injuries, and we can kind of keep as many bodies in, like ready for the games come the games. Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Hady's, you got to applaud him. He's done it the right way around. Don't score in pre-season, get a brace on the opening day. You'd rather it be that way around, wouldn't you? So yeah, hopefully he can just kick on now, and that'll be him. Just thinking, Jack. Obviously, last season it was like you said, it was you, it was Laurent, it was Josh. With both of those guys moving on now, have you had any kind of reflection on, okay, the pressure's going to be on me a lot for providing goals? Obviously, spoken about Hady now coming in. But do you feel that sense of the big three that you are now pushed to the front a bit? Or, yeah, is that not really realistic? I know Kai's come in, other players have come in.
Yeah, no, look, like I said, I've always backed myself to score goals, and I think I do generally think last year, although I scored, I think it's 15. If I look back at the chance that I had, I probably could have got over 20 plus. I think last season with the few that I missed and stuff. So I'm happy. Like I've always said, I'm happy to take. Now look, I'm probably, like I said, in terms of that front line. If you like to say, I'm the probably most experienced in terms of what we got at this moment in time. So I'm happy to take on that pressure in terms of where the go. Like a lot of people always say, where the goal's going to come from, and I think this year, in terms of like the way we want to play and stuff, we know where we lacked last year. It weren't going forward. We know we can score goals, and like I said, hopefully like I said, just because Josh and Laurent have gone on now, like I said, we've got other people in the building that still can score goals, and like I said, we might play a little bit of a different way this year. It might be, like I said, the way we played on Saturday was kind of two number 10s and a striker. I know Gaffer does like that formation in terms of him. Like I said, he likes them players in the midfield to get on the ball a bit more. So whether, like I said, we stick with kind of that, but we know we can mix it up as well. Like I said, we had two last year. We played two up top, especially at home. I think we was a bit more like attack minded. But no, I think there is, like I said, within the squad that we've got so far, I think there's a lot of goals. I just think, like I said, it's sort of the unknown again. You've got players playing that haven't played a lot of minutes at this level. So it's a case of, I think we just got to be patient. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like there is definitely a lot of goals within the side. So like in terms of, is it based just on me? Don't get me wrong, I'd love to go and smash this season completely, 20 plus, do really well. But like I said, if we can share it, like my job is not just goals, get assists as well, and be like good for the team. So if we share them around it and we do well, and we manage to get where we want to get in the league, then so be it. That makes me happy.
Yeah, it does feel that, doesn't it? There's like the way Tommy was talking, the way Jack's just said there, it does feel like a little bit of a mentality switch with not just having Jack, relying on him to get 20, Hady to chip in with 10. Otherwise, we're in trouble. It feels a bit more like, come on, everybody's going to chip in with a few, and we work as a unit a bit more. Are you hearing that?
Yeah, I am actually. And I know Tommy said that pre-season Theo had chipped in with a couple, and Frosty's got a few last year. So I feel that. I think also, of course, Henry has come in and scored on his debut, which is fantastic. But actually, when you look at his record at Oxford, he was scoring, sort of something like a goal every 2.5 games, which is remarkable, really, for a midfielder. For a 10, maybe a bit more understandable. So no, I think it'd be great if we can continue that goal scoring record and share it around. And like Jack said, Jack, you may have got to the 20 mark with a less potent strike force around you.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we in terms of like the way it worked, and obviously for me, I'm kind of gutted. I hadn't when I got injured. Obviously, at the back end of the season, it was kind of at the wrong time because we
Yeah.
were just sort of we was in a bit of a rough patch, and it was kind of like we just needed to come out of that. And I think if we won even a game or two, we would have been in there, and who knows what could have happened. I think, like I said, if we did manage to get in the playoffs, I think it just I don't think anyone would want to play us. I just think because they know how strong we was going forward, and on our day, I think like we was a really good side. It's just a case of like, but yeah, I think looking towards, like I said, this year, I think we have got a good group, and it's just about building. It was about building from last season, and like I said, I think the expectancy now is because where we finished last season, it's like, what do you want to do to the squad? It's like we want to improve on what we did last year. So it's a case of we know where we're at and we know where we want to get to. It's just about being steady and building them blocks to get there.
Yeah. With Josh and Laura, just like trying to get into your mindset a little bit, Jack. Obviously, personal level, you're good friends. Like you said, you built like a really good understanding and a rapport. I'm sure you would have been sad to see them go in terms of your mates are leaving the club, and what that would do. But from like a selfish professional point of view, you trying to better yourself, you trying to get 25 a season, is there also a part of you that enjoys that because it makes space for you, it makes way for you, or is it not as clinical as that? Are you more thinking friend level than you're my competition level?
No, yeah, I think any striker, you ask it like what they want. They want to be top goal scorer. They want to do this. They want to do that. And I think that's, like I said, my aim. I still think like I can, even being at the age like I said, I'm 28 now, and I still feel like I've got lots to improve on in terms of where I want to get to and stuff. And I feel like I add a lot of value to, like I said, the football club. And it's not just like I said, although I want to score goals and goals and goals. Like I said, it's what I bring to the team. I think I bring something different, and any defender especially would say like, what don't you want to face? And I think I highlight a lot of that in terms of running in behind. I can mix up my game. Like I said, I'm trying to be a bit more in terms of can I find different spaces on the pitch now. Like I said, predominantly like last year, mine was like the right side of the attack, if you'd like to say. But yeah, like, I think I bring what I bring to the team is, like I said, it's hard to kind of find players that want to, like I said, want to work the way like I want to work in terms of like I'm willing to 90 plus minutes. I work hard and cause teams problems, which sometimes allows other people to flourish within the team. Like if I'm stretching play all the time, like I said last season when Josh could then get in the hole and get it, and same with Laurent when he dropped in deep to get the ball. But no, like I still want to improve on what I did last year. So like I said, if it's 15, like 15 I got last year plus my assist, I want to better that even more. So hopefully, come the end of the season when we finish, I'll know that I've obviously that's my aim is to better what I did from last year.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen, Jack.
And how does it feel, Jack? We touched on it slightly, but how does it feel when someone like Kai joins the team, joins the squad? For you, what does it feel like when another person in your position joins? And obviously, it happens to centre backs and midfielders. We've had a lot of midfielders join this year. When you total them up, how does it feel?
Yeah, I think anyone would be probably a bit naive to say when someone comes in the football club, if it's another striker or someone that's similar to you, you kind of first think like, am I gonna play? Are they gonna play? I think any player would be like, see to think that, oh, I'm number one and no one else matters. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone, but it's good. It's good to have competition. I think if you have competition, it drives you on to become better. I think if you're comfortable in your ways and you know you're going to play week in week out, sometimes your levels can drop, and then it means that, like I said, what you provide on a Saturday, because you kind of think, oh, I'm going to start every week. It means that sometimes you need that competition. So that's like for me, especially Hady scoring 2 on Saturday, I'm thinking like, he's in my position. I want to be on that pitch. So I'm thinking when I come in, whether it's I get 30 minutes, I've got to try and score. I've got to try and do something. So I know that come Saturday, Gaffer's thinking, no, I've got to play Jack because I know what he can offer. You've got to sometimes put yourself out there, even if it's training, for example. You've got to make sure you train hard every day to make sure the Gaffer's watching and saying, you know what, he warrants a start week in, week out. Because as soon as your levels start dropping and people notice it, I feel like that's you don't want that in your game, especially if you want to kick on in your career. I mean, like I said, if you're an old head, more experienced, 30 plus, and like I said, for James that we've signed, it's good to have someone like that in the team because he's been at that level. He knows what it takes. So for some of the young lads looking up to that, especially for like James, having James there, it's good because he knows where the levels are. So especially for, like I said, it's always good to have competition because it will definitely make you better come the season. I think it's always good to have that.
Yeah. I think that's why that picture was so encouraging for us as strikers, as supporters rather, because literally everybody was so obviously delighted for Hady, and the gaffer, pointing at him because he'd been giving him stick all through pre-season about the fact he couldn't hit a cow's backside with a banjo, and it was like that shows a really good spirit that yes, you are in competition, but you want the best for each other, which means the club will flourish, won't it?
Yeah, and I think like Gaffer's already come out and said he doesn't care who scores. He doesn't matter as
Yeah.
long as the team does well. Because I remember being in the same situation last pre-season. I think it was when we played Tottenham away, and I must have missed 4 or 5 chances that I really should have scored. And Gaffer lost the plot on the sideline because I didn't pass the ball, and I was trying to get my numbers up in pre-season when he literally was like, look, I don't care who scores, all I want is for the team to do well. And I think if you take that away and you kind of stop, like, because it's easy to kind of, if you don't score in 4 or 5 games, you start overthinking. It's like, am I doing something wrong? You know what I mean? You miss a few chances, but I think if you don't think about that and you think about the team and doing well and making sure we're winning winning as much as possible, then the goals will come. So it's just a case of making sure when you get the chances, you want to score as many as you can, but effectively it's about winning and making sure that we know we want to get to where we want to get to.
Yeah, Jack, you've spoken a bit about your strengths. You said obviously you like to make space in behind, pull defenders. You're going to work hard for 95 minutes. In terms of how you can improve, I know you've just said they're obviously about your accuracy and when you're on a goal drought, how you're going to snap out of it. But is there anything technical in your game that you're aware of or working on that you think if I can nail this, I'll be the main man here at shots? I might be able to move on higher up as well. What are you working on at the minute?
Yeah, I think if I would say that, like I said, if it's any one thing that I think that I want to work on, it's just like I said, if I can drop in and get it in it's difficult because now it depends obviously what system we're playing. So for me especially, I know the staff are big on me stretching the play as much as I can because that's where that's where I hurt teams as well. But obviously it's not, you can't always do that. There will be teams that you play against that will go, well, we'll nullify that and we'll just sit deep. So you ain't gonna run, you can't run anywhere. So then it means, well, how can I change up my games a bit to give them a bit more of a different thought? So whether that means coming feet to get the ball and linking play a bit better. Like I said, I'm working on everything that I possibly can to make sure that I said how can I what can I give the team that, like I said, can make us succeed in terms of the most. And like I said, I'm big on, you know what I mean, working on things like I said, whether it's finishing, whether it's linking play, whatever that may be. If it's getting stronger, I'm working on that day in day out. So it's a case of, like I said, I know, like I said, I can provide a lot to the team. But like I said, we might play a little bit of a different way this year, which might require me to play a little bit of a different role. But like I said, I know I can provide for the team. It's just a case of, like I said, making sure this year I want to specifically get my numbers up in terms of, like I said, goals, assists, so better on what I did last year.
Yeah.
And just a quick snap question, Jack, where do you believe we can finish this year?
I think this year it's honestly an open playing field. I think you've obviously got the teams that have got the bigger budgets. That there's pressure with that. So if you like sort of narrow it down, you'd say like Forest Green, Oldham, York, them sort of teams have signed loads of players and are throwing everything at it. But that doesn't necessarily always bring you success. I think
Mhm.
it helps. Don't get me wrong, it helps because you've got pulling power. So it means you can bring players in that you can beat bringing players in that if we wanted to sign someone and York wanted to sign someone, they might throw a lot more money at him. So, but like I said, money, yeah, it does make you happy, but sometimes it doesn't make your team successful. Um, but I think like I said, I generally believe we've got a squad to get us where we want to, and that's in the playoffs. I think we have to better what we did last year. So we have to
Mhm.
put that pressure on ourselves, and we know where we lacked last year. We know we let in way too many goals. So we want to kind of make us more solid all round. And I think if we get that right, I generally believe that I think we'll shock a lot of teams again this year. And we want to better where we did last year, so that means we want to get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so tough because fans, you just always want more. So, what we saw last year, the feel good factor, the cup run, everyone always thinks you got to build, you can't stand still, can't possibly get top 10, can't possibly, Jack can't get 10 goals, that's not good enough. Everybody always just elevates these levels no matter what goes on behind the scenes. It's just what fans do.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting that, yeah, you've noticed obviously a little subtle change with the messaging, the tactics, but you
Yeah.
also want to kick on, which is really important. Because, Dad, we've spoken a bit about whether playoffs needs to be now the next benchmark, actually making the playoffs, or whether we, just again start from scratch. And if we were to get eighth, seventh again, that would be good. I mean, it's all very subjective, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But I think what we've learned from talking to Tommy, Liam, and Jack obviously works with Tommy every day, but is that I think last year, in a way, this is my personal opinion, is that we overachieved in terms of probably what he was thinking. Year one, we definitely didn't want to be down the bottom again. I mean, you were around when I think you were signed in the March, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
We were we were really in danger of going down when Tommy came in, weren't we? And I think eighth was really, really good, and we did fantastic. It was a fantastic season. There's so many memories we have. I think my feeling is in Tommy's mind, we really should consolidate this year because I think the squad is stronger. I don't know if you agree, Jack, but I know we've lost Kian and Ryan's not training at the moment, and Hadji has moved on and so on. And obviously Josh and Loren have moved. But if you look at the squad, what we've seen so far, I think there's more depth in each of the positions. Um, so I think, yeah, I think he would be thinking we will get playoffs is the next step. I mean, to get automatic promotion would be brilliant, but is that how it feels, Jack? That we're I know we've lost some players, but we've actually feel a bit stronger as a squad.
Yeah, I think looking obviously back to last season as well, I think where from especially when I joined the club and where the club was in terms of that in that time, I think when Gaffer come in and we just sort of stayed up and it was kind of I think Gaffer's expectation of what he wants is, I think, and like I said, everyone was expecting us to kind of, we didn't, after just becoming safe in the league and going on to like last season, it was a bit like 50, no one really knew what they was going to expect in terms of, but Gaffer's standards, like, and the way that he works, he kind of, he had a vision, like I said, of getting into them playoffs. And I think, like I said, we set the stall down from day one where we wanted to be. But it's very difficult because you're kind of you always, especially as I suppose as fans, you're always up and down, and you don't know. One minute you think you're going to get playoffs, then it's like, oh, we don't know where we're going to be. Like I said, we've kind of. I do think last year did we overachieve? I think with the performances that we put out, and I don't think we did overachieve. I think that we shocked a lot of people,
Mm.
especially when you look at predictions for the season. Everyone had us down the bottom, and I think come sort of like Christmas, January time, everyone was a bit like, "Oh God!" Like they've kind of shocked a lot of people. And like I said, that comes with when you sign younger players and you sign players that are not. what you call is like sort of your like experienced players within this level, you just don't know what you're going to get. And I think like that's kind of the biggest worry. Like as a fact, you always think like, oh, if we sign this player, he's not got that much experience, but he could flourish within that season, and then he moves on to better things. But that comes with our experience, like I said, with us, like achieving as well. So like I said, I think because where we finished last season, I think everyone now expects us to be right up there. I think we've got to take each week as it comes, and we've got to make sure that where we needed to improve last season, we improve, and also where we was good last year, can we take that up to the next level as well? Can we go and score more goals than what we did last year, and can we be better at the back and make sure we keep more clean sheets? But that comes that you want to score more goals, but if you keep clean sheets and you win 1-0, you still get 3 points. So we've just got to make sure we get the balance right. And I think if we do, I generally think I think we've got a good chance of achieving what we want to achieve.
Yeah. Feels like we're in a good place, and it feels like the mindset is good. People are optimistic in a good way and building from confidence last season. You can definitely see that, and it's great to see you guys, bonded the way you have. Good start on Saturday. Hoping obviously for the same next couple of weeks as well. Jack, we've saved the best question till last deliberately. So this is courtesy of your mates Tyler Frost and Josh Stokes. You may have seen this, but in our last season, we went to the EBB. We did a sit down with them, and I played a little game. And we basically asked them who's got the best and worst fashion sense in the squad. And straight away, Josh Stokes said you, and then quickly after the word Batman. So we had a little chat about fancy dress. So we can't let you go without just asking you to explain what on earth is he referring to? What's that about? This is your chance to defend yourself as we finish.
So no, in terms of the dress sense, it's because I always turn up in just sports gear every day, like for football. Whereas everyone in football likes to dress up sometimes, maybe put their nice stuff on. But I'm just like, I'll just keep it casual and stuff. But I would say my dress sense has definitely got better this year. So that's what. And the Batman thing was because it was when we played Eastleigh in the FA Trophy, and I made a comment saying like when I come off the bench, I was like Batman to the rescue. So that's what they refer to when they call me that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
The things these footballers get up to, Dad.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more discipline. I think next time we talk to Tommy, we're going to say, let's tighten up on these guys. Because Josh and Frosty definitely, as soon as Liam asked the question, it was like, Jack. So you were top of the list, Jack. Batman to the rescue. Batman returns.
Yeah. But you've had a chance. You've had a chance to defend yourself. So now the fans will understand you and rate you a bit better. So that's what you came on for, really. But yeah, Jack, it's been great to chat. You've spoken really well. So thanks for just sharing what you're going through with us. Great to have you back from injury. And we'll see you on the pitch very soon. So thanks so much.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.